Sir, your question.
Thank you all for coming out and sharing your opinions. This is a question directed at everyone, if you could just share. What, if anything, would make you change your mind on legal or recreational marijuana use and its current state?
Okay. Mark, let's start with you. What would change your mind?
Well, it wouldn't even matter how harmful something is. You don't make things illegal because it's harmful, or we'd have to ban everything we do. Sex is very harmful. It causes pregnancy diseases, it spreads all sorts of things. I mean, kissing is very harmful, sugar's harmful, salt's harmful, water's harmful. I mean, when it gets down to cannabis, it's the safest thing on earth. I mean, there's just no evidence that it isn't the safest thing, because I can show you empirical evidence to show you that everything, including the seat you're sitting on, is much more lethal than anything that ever has to do with cannabis. People injure themselves on bathtubs by the thousands, toilet seats, kitchen implements, knives, scissors, skiing, driving their car. Everything you're going to do is going to kill you except cannabis. Now think about that. And cannabis is still one of the most stigmatized things on earth. And yet there is such empirical evidence in our favor to show that it is a miracle plant and we should be blessed to have it. And it's an abomination that people make it illegal.
So Mark, high quantities of marijuana and getting by in the middle of a car.
Nothing could convince me to make marijuana illegal based on the fact that it's harmful.
So,
because anything you do is your own choice. You can drive a car fast or slow. You can take sleeping pills in excess or not. You can eat a lot of sugar and get diabetes or not. Everything is within our realm to control as long as we have personal autonomy. If you get personal autonomy taken away from you, you are not human, you're not being treated as human, and you have no say over your own life, which is absurd. You need to be able to determine what to do with your body, what to do with your money, and what to put in your body. And if you don't have that, you're not giving me your rights as a human being.
Thanks, Mark. What could make you change your mind on your position on marijuana? Studies. We've heard that tonight.
We've as a history, we've gone through history, we've allowed shit, you guys back at the turn of the century used to, you go in the back of the wagon and mix a concoction and tell you it's going to cure everything. They call them snake oil salesmen, right? They go out there, I can cure your baldness, I can do this, all in one shot.
Call them pharmaceutical companies.
Away you go.
So you're not saying you won't change your mind, you just need more.
No, I just need more. I need more information.
Okay, and is that the same for you? You need more information, Jerry?
I don't ever believe that we should ever legalize an illicit substance like marijuana.
Okay. We'll give you the last one.
I did change my mind. I was wholeheartedly in favor of legalization without any restrictions, but I've read two recent studies that are meta-analysis, and one's by Thomas. I don't have the citation with me, but I'm happy to share that once I find out. And Thomas has done a comprehensive study of the role of cannabis in the lives of early starters. This is between 9 and 13, and their life outcomes, and it's not good. This is controlling for a number of other factors. So I kind of went for, as an academic, I'm sworn to myself that if the evidence shows otherwise, I'll change my opinion. So I began to think, maybe it's time I change my opinion about cannabis, and then it dawned on me, again, that the harms associated with marijuana are an argument for its regulation, not its criminalization.
Are you telling me that a lot of 9 to 13-year-olds get cannabis?
In Australia, yeah.
Well, I mean, but
not many, you're right.
Well, how do you regulate that? Who's the person you're trying to regulate who's giving cannabis to 9 to 13-year-olds? Who's going to be affected by regulation at that age level? It's probably some 14-year-old or 15-year-old getting it. And so it goes. What do you do? Put the 15-year-old kid in jail or put him in juvenile? How are you going to punish people for this?
Well, maybe we use the same approach that we do with tobacco. And that early in life, we warn kids as they're approaching that phase in life that, tobacco is cool and it looks that way, but it's got a lot of harmful
But we don't punish anybody who experiments with it, no. Nor do we punish even someone who's got booze at age 13. So what are you proposing in the way of regulation?
Well, the same way that we do tobacco, I'd like to see cannabis sold in outlets where, it's behind the counter, it's hidden. You have to show identification that you're over, we can argue about the age, 19, 25, somewhere in there. And,
Well, why should it be hidden? What's the hiding part? That's a
Well,
stigma. Are we ashamed of being, are we ashamed of our interest in buying cannabis?
Is that a fair comparison, the tobacco to marijuana comparison? Is that fair? Are there parallels there?
If we're talking about the law, I would say that we should learn what we can from the mistakes that were made with tobacco. I don't know how many millions of dollars we're spending on cessation programs to get people off of tobacco. So I don't know specifically about the harms, but I think from a law standpoint, we have lots to learn from tobacco.
Well, what about the addiction properties? Different, clearly?
Are you kidding me? Like 500,000 Canadians die every year. Like a staggering amount from tobacco. No one's signed from Canada, not in 45 years. But 2 million people have been criminalized in Canada for 45 years for cannabis, and nobody got criminalized for tobacco. Where are all those leaders of industry that pumped out that tobacco? When did they get 10, 20 years for fraud, deception, and near genocide?